It was in 1955. I was in the first grade, and there were 61 of us. And all the boys wanted to be priests, and all the girls wanted to be sisters. And I think that was part of the innocence of being in first grade. And then when I caught sight of girls as an adolescent, then the thought of the priesthood really went out the window, and seriously so, to be honest. And I really was on the track of feeling very much drawn to be an attorney. And in high school, I had a girlfriend, and, we were pretty serious about each other. And I, in my imagination, could picture what it would be like to be married, to what our kids would look like. And a good friend of mine, my best friend, as a matter of fact, invited me to go on a retreat, the very first retreat that I ever went on in my life, and it was an absolute disaster. Hated it from beginning to end. When it was over, I said to my friend, "Don't ever ask me to do anything like that again." And 2 years later, he did. He said, "Will you go on a retreat with me?" And I said, "Nope." I said, "I won't do that." And he said, "Well, how about if just doing it for me as a favor, because I'm the only one who's going from our area?" And so I did it as an act of friendship. And that was divine providence, because what happened at that retreat was I began to take a look at the priesthood from a whole different perspective, and began to feel something stirring in my heart and soul. And I decided to come into the formation program. My family took bets on how long I was going to stay, and the longest bet was 15 days. I think I fooled them all. But during the course of the next couple of years, I very much loved being in the seminary, but I also was being tugged in the other direction. What about becoming an attorney? What about becoming a husband? What about becoming a dad? And I have to say that I aggressively fought God over those years, because that's what I wanted. And yet I also knew the power of God asking me to take a look at something else. And I can tell you where that was all settled. In one of the summers, I was working for Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Railroad. I had to work the 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. shift. I came home that night, driving to Ambridge to my parents' home. And here I arrived home at 2 a.m. and the lights in the house were on, which was really unusual. And my mom was sitting there just having a cup of coffee, and she said she couldn't sleep, and we spent the rest of the night talking about vocation. She talked about her vocation of marriage. I talked about the struggles I was having about becoming a priest. I felt tugged in the direction of becoming an attorney and being married, because my best buddies were getting married. And I don't know what it was, but somehow during the course of that night, I became ever more convinced of the vocation that God wanted me to say yes to. And I was able to do that, and I'm so grateful that for those moments that were not accidental, clearly designed by God himself, trying to get through this knucklehead. And certainly to be a priest is not at all an easy life. But it is a life that is absolutely terrific because of the power of God's grace that enables every priest to be able to say yes to the needs of his people, and to say yes to the needs of his people, not simply because it would be the good human thing to do, but because it's the Christ-like thing to do. That's the joy of the priesthood. And while it may be a challenging experience in life, it's one that has so many graces attached to it. Exciting, surprising, exhilarating, thrilling, consoling, compassionate, rewarding, grace-filled. So many of those adjectives define what priesthood really has been for me.